Hello, am I audible? Hello, hello. Uh, mm, Hi, myself Sasi, and this is day 11 of improving my communication skill through reading books, and that book is Lab is What You Make It by Preeti Shenoy. And today we reached at chapter number 14, name The Day Something Died. Died. And okay, fine. So tomorrow is my exam, so I'm not going to do extra activity like tongue twister. I will directly proceed with book reading, and so I'm going to start. And first, I am sharing the screen, so you can also see what I am reading. Once again. Sorry, this one is not as you seen every day. So it's no need to worry. I will read louder so you can hear hear easily. So as last day I see some videos from where I see that I have to place this pen or pencil inside too much inside third teeth from inside where I have to just hold, not right. Uh, Just I have to hold, and then I start to reading book. So as I'm going to try like that. So first I will read normally. After that I will start with this pain. So the chapter name is The Day Something Died. It was not at least 3 weeks since I had slept properly. Even the time when I finally fell asleep, exhausted with all the marriage thing, my my weird things I was involved in. It wasn't for more than a couple of hours. My the thoughts raced around medley. I tried desperately to control them, to rein them in. They are like wild horse on a racing spree. The more I try, the faster they seem to gallop. At one point, I was so exhausted. I just want to sleep. I just wanted to sleep. I wanted to shout at the thoughts telling them to stop. I tried shutting them out mentally by closing my eyes tightly. It- I tried to calm myself by countering sleep as I lay on my bed, trying desperately to fall asleep. But the sheep I tried to counter into phantasmagorical, phantasmagorical dragon and giant ills. They leapt across in the universe dotted with a million stars. They leaped over Jupiter and their hopes, hopes made a shouting musical sound that went around in my mind. They were the most melodious notes of the music I had ever heard. The creatures I saw were a million colors. They were magical, mesmerizing, and enchanting to look at with a continuous rainy silk atmosphere inside my head falling. Falling asleep seemed like a remote dream. I was aware, of course, that it was not real and it existed only in my thoughts. But how? Oh, it was so beautiful all the same. It was seductive. I was drawn to it and found myself getting sucked in deeper. I had, I had, I had always I had always been meticulous about keeping my room tidy, but with so many activities like running, writing poems, and studying, I was becoming less sensitive to my surroundings, especially my room. I simply could not be bothered to tidy up and put away stuff when there was a million more interesting things to do. There were piles of books strewn across. There were train tickets and bus tickets lying on the table. There were at least five unclear empty coffee mugs. I had no idea how many cups of coffee I had consumed on the nights that I stayed up writing poetry. I The bed was unmade, and I could not be bothered to put away the footwear. At least three pairs lay strewn across the floor. There were a few uncleared plates too, with residues of food on it, which I had shoved under the bed. My room was increasingly being to resemble the chaos that was going on inside my mind. It was a bedlam, bedlam, ho- hodgepodge of a million different things that just excited side by side existed side by side with no relation or connection to each other. Very much like the thought racing around inside my head, refusing to stop. I was becoming increasingly disregardful of my appearance too. I had lost a lot of weight. My already thin frame now looked positively haggard. My eyes took a haunted appearance. Yet they glowed with a kind of energy. But this day I simply could not meet my own eyes in the mirror. As soon as I saw my reflection while brushing my teeth, I would look away hastily, averting my own glance. I hated looking at myself, and so I managed with the bare minimum of personal grooming. I simply did not care anymore. My parents would not keep telling me to clean up my room, and I would keep promise, promising them that I would do it the next day. Finally, my mother could stand it no more and decided to clean it herself when I was in college. When I come back one evening, my room was spotless, but there was an uneasy, death-like silence in the hall. One look at my parents' face and I knew something was wrong. My dead, dad's face was as black as a storm cloud. My mother was glaring at me angrily, her eyes glowing with rage. I was quite sure that they were angry because I had procra- procrastinated cleaning my room endlessly, that they had been to do it. I was getting ready to apologize. That was when I saw it. The letter and the Abhi had written to me in the blood was laid out on the center table in the drawing room. Just a glance at it, and I felt I had been jabbed hard in the stomach. I sucked in my breath, my heart beating at furious pace. I opened my mouth and closed it. I did not know what to say. I was I was speechless. I was I was shocked that my parents had discovered it. I had I had never anticipated that. Earlier, I had been carefully care. Earlier, I had been careful about locking up my cupboard and carrying the key with me when I left home. But lately, I had become careless about that too. Getting a letter like this from a guy and then shamelessly holding on to it was the ultimate sin a well brought up Indian girl could committed in their book. To them, it was unforgivable that their daughter, whom they trusted so much, had done this. One part of me was terrified on their wrath, but another was also numb with the pain of seeing that letter again. It brought back all the memories of the time when I had seen the letter and first gone to his house. I remind me of the afternoon that I had spent with him in his house. What the hell is this? My dad thundered. Is this what we sent you to college for? My mother added. Who is this fellow and what is that acting in blood? Bloody mad bastard, how dare he? My dad was so angry that he was talking on his own word. He was shaking his rage, he could hardly speak. And you have written back to him, you shameless hussy. My mom greeted me. I did not know what to say. Rage was stirring somewhere in me slowly, but there was also a huge wave of sadness brewing. How how could my father address him that way? How dared they go through my personal stuff? How could they rob me of my privacy like this and then question me? I am not a child anymore. I was 21 and I could even marry now. Then would and they would not be able to stop me. He's not a mad bastard, Dad. He died. He died. Did. He did. I wanted to say it, but the word stuck somewhere in my throat. I did not come out and did not come out. My mother looked at me and addressed my dad. Look at her standing like that. Look at her insolence. She should hang her head in shame. Look at her attitude and her silence. How the hell does she think she is? I still kept quiet. My silence aggravated and her anger even more. Answer you, you shameless whore. She yelled as she showed me hard. I stepped sideways by the impact of her push. He did not bring you up for this. There is the fellow. Where is this fellow? What is your relationship with him? Are you planning to get married? She thundered. My parents were both looking at me. How? Looking at me now. Waiting for me to speak. Waiting for me to speak. How could I explain things like love to them? Their middle class value, their proper Indian unbringing, and everything they stood for had no place for trivialities like love and romance. Romance. If it happened, you pretended it did not. You brushed it aside and moved on. As life was hard, you studied, you got a job, and you got married to the person your parents chose for you. That is what they expect, and that is what their way of life was. It was simple and direct. There was no way they would understand passion, love, emotion. There was simply no place for anything like that in their minds or lives. Life, lives. He is dead. I finally managed to grasp. Very good. If he is, he should rot. She said. "Hmm. Very good. If he is, he should rot. Rot. What the meaning of rot? She said. Look at her talking back now after doing what she has. This is because you have spoiled her. and let her get away with everything. We should have been a bit more strict with her. Then we would not have to hear her talking back like this to her own parents. She turned on my dad. I did not have to have the courage to explain Abhi's death to him. My mother had presumed I was being discourteous and claimed up. When I said that he was dead, I let her think so. It was easier than talking about it. Have you even considered the consequence of keeping this letter? Asked my dad. I was silent again, standing like a condemned prisoner. Is there anything more you have to tell us? My mother asked. No, I said. What about this letter then? She said, and that was when I noticed that they had all Weibo's letter as well. I had neatly pailed them away date-wise, and the file was now on the sofa in my living room. I cringed. I was certain they would have read them as all as well. How many guys will you trap with your Willy, Willy charm? You stupid little tramp! My mother almost spat out. Her word cut deep. Scooping out my deepest feeling of apprehension and exposing it threadbare. Till now it had only been a vague feeling of uneasiness inside my head. But by speaking it aloud, she had given it con- concreteness. I knew she was not entirely correct, but it was not as if I had actively pursued or would any of this guy. I was the. It was they who. It was they who had pursued me. I had not trapped them in any way. In which case, I did not even told him I loved him. The logical part of me said that I was not responsible in any way, but there was no escape from my feelings that I was to blame in some way. Feelings are powerful and logic was crushed under its weight. I was governed by them, not by logic. I, I was at their mercy and they were unrelenting, harsh and unforgiving. Unwittingly, my mother had struck at the very core of my self-esteem and shattered it to pieces. I could not even pick up by the bits. Almost immediately, I had in a deep sense of shame, regret, guilt, and hollowness. I felt sick. There is only one thing to do, said my dad. I want you to promise me that you will stop all this letter writing nonsense. Fortunately, we are far away from Kerala. Nobody should come to know of this. If they do, our family name is gone. We are our we are our parents. We have to think of your future. I could not promise my dad anything. I did not even trust myself anymore. What could I promise him? I was silent. Then mistook my silence for acquiescence. "Come here, there is something we must do," said my dad. I was so tired even to argue or ask what they had in mind. I followed my parents to kitchen balcony. There was a bottle of kerosene in the corner, along with the household cleaning liquid. My mother generally put a cup full of it in the water which the maid used to mop the house. It gave the floor a shine, but that was not what Dad had in mind when he uh, took the bottle. I was too dazed to even realize that he was doing. In almost a flash he had poured some of it on the letter which he had taken out from the file. He threw them on the floor of the balcony. He then stirred a match and flame gobbled up the paper like a hungry monster devouring its prey. It was then that it struck me that he had done, but it was too late now. On the top of the pile was Abyss later. I watched Abyss blood-shocked words going up in the flame. The lump in my throat felt like it would explode, but I did not cry. Though, although I did not shed a single tear, I felt defeated. Defeated. I had had enough. I wanted to curl up and die. The sense of loss I felt when I saw the later burn was oppressive. It felt like someone had heated up a hot iron rod and sang me again and again on the raw exposed skin. Everything, everything will be fine now. Today onwards, you will be a new person. Forget the past. It was gone. It has gone. My dad had My dad had said I had walked away to my room. He believed it too. He felt I ought to let the past go. After all, I had come to Bombay with a dream to chase and would be armed with a management degree to help me climb the corporate ladder. But that was not on my mind point at that point in time at all. I went out, I went to my room and lay down. I felt empty. A hug dark void was inside me now. It was like a phantom pain which am- imputes experience when I limb is cut off. The limb does the limb does not exist anymore, but the pain they feel in that limb which no longer exists in very real. I did not know what to do to relieve the pain. I felt I felt trapped in it. I wanted it to stop. I wanted no more of this agony. I curled up my fist as tightly as I could, and the fingernails dug deep into the place of my palm. I did not eat again, and I did it again and again. The deeper my nail dug, the better I felt. Then I felt. Then I saw the paper cutting knife which I had bought some time back. I took it and made a small cut on the side of the wrist. I, s- I winced slightly as the table cut the skin and a line of blood appeared. I felt better then. Now at least the pain was real. I could bear this. It was not like the phantom, phantom pain which was terrifyingly unbearable. I made my way to the bathroom and opened the cabinet which had cotton and Dettol. I had applied undiluted Dettol directly on the cut. It stung sharply and almost burned. Oddly, I felt comforted. My parents had no idea what I had just done. I felt happy that this was one thing they could do nothing about. Their reading of Abhi's and Weber's letter and made me feel so violated. This was my body and I could do what I wanted with it. I was a strange kind of defiance. It was a way of getting back at them for what they had done. Ha ha ma, look at me now. I wanted to say, what are you going to do about this, Emma? I wanted to taunt, but unfortunately I did nothing of the sort and lay down in my room and counted sleep. Like before, I did not come at all. Earlier, I used to be comforted by the phantasmagorical creatures, but they had gone now. They had been replaced by blackness and a void. All I could hear now inside my head were I agonizing a scream of the later as they burned. They were uh, cacophonous. Each letter was screaming as it would. Save me, please, let me live. But I was silent as I watched each one dying a slow, painful death. Died, dead, died, died, dead, died, died, dead, dead. Dad had said that I would be a new person from that day. He had been right, but not in a way that he foresaw. Something inside me had died that day along with those letters, but I did not know what. I could not put a name to it. Perhaps it was a part of my soul, or maybe it was a part of my destiny. What it was, I could not tell. I could not tell. Finally, the day when their parents know about their daughter Ankita, what she had done, what what's going on in her life. So now this is over. This this chapter is over. The day something that their letter is gone. Their everything's is the letter every letter's burned in front of her, and now she have to change herself because their parents catched him just because of her laziness. It's, and their fault is if she was not do like that. Okay, everything over. Now we will move to the next chapter tomorrow. So we have to wait for next chapter. Tomorrow is my exam and I'm going to prepare for that. I will do some previous year question. After that, I will take sleep. And in the early morning, we have to do exercise as we have skipped the day. And from next day, we will set the parameter of using social media because we are exceeding the time limit of social media use and wasting the time. So I will try to reduce the screen time, and we have a lot of works like our gate exam, our semester exam, our uh, project work, some project work, two or three project where I have to do all those project work, and I have some online internship work. I have to complete all those things. I have to post some post on LinkedIn as well. So I am not going to waste single second. So as promised, tomorrow I will use means today I will use 20 minutes of Instagram, 10 minutes of Facebook maximum, and bas. Okay, guys, there is three or two viewers. Thanks to all to seeing me on while reading the books. So if you want to join, you can also do. If you want to come in, you are from our hostel. You can come in my host room, and you can also practice with me if you want. Okay, guys. Good night. See you tomorrow. Bye.